1 year ago, we bought this house right behind me. I'm standing in front of the house we bought a year ago. Now, why do we flip it instead of rent it out? Well, I'm gonna tell you, but before, let me show you what it looked like when we bought it. Now let's get into the details of this transaction, because I could tell you that you should buy your first house and you can either flip it or rent it. But the thing is no house is identical and no situation is the same. And your financial situation might look different than mine, and mine looks different than yours, and what you have access to might not be what I have access to. In order for us to buy this little house of 900 square feet for $350,000, we had to have a little bit of cash, right? Now in a perfect world, this would have been an off-market deal. And the thing is this house was being sold to its neighbor for a much lower price, but they were not ready to purchase anything and they had their assets elsewhere. So I wish I was that neighbor and I wish I could have made another $100,000 on top, but that's not the case. We were hunting for a deal and nothing was coming across our hands for off market, but we wanted to get our feet wet. So instead of just waiting around for the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect thing to cross our hands, we decided to just dive in and try it. Now there were a lot of properties selling for a pretty good price at the time, maybe around $300,000, $275,000. This is a year ago. Say 1,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet, some in East Tacoma, some in Spanaway. But I wanted something that was close to home, but at the same time was in the best area. So I wanted to buy the worst house in the best area. That's what we were hunting for. And this little house went on market and it was 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And when this little house came up, we knew that we had to strike. So we wrote up an offer and we were up against 3 other offers. It wasn't terrible, but it was getting bid up. So we submitted an offer for $350, thinking that we could sell for $450. Now, did we? Yes or no? You'll find out here in a second. Now, when you buy your first house, you can either buy it as a primary residence or as an investment property. And the stipulations for the requirement on each of those is different. Now, while we could have made this our primary residence, lived in it for a little bit, and then rented it out, our initial thought was, let's actually buy and sell. And let's see how much money we can make off this project. So instead of getting a regular conventional or FHA loan on it, we decided to do it for cash. Now you might say, Yaro, where did you get all that cash? The key here is to have funds in the right places. Now, while I did invest a lot of our savings into this project, I also had 2 other people involved in this project. We also had to have a little safety net for let's say,
unforeseen circumstances.
What a news. Yep.
Now, when it comes to not having enough cash for something, you kind of have 3 options. A, miss the opportunity. B, pull money out of another investment, such as your current house, a car, or another investment you may have. Or 3, hard money. Now, while hard money loans are expensive because you're paying only interest and there's oftentimes fees for renewing it, and sometimes if your project ends up going longer than expected, it can really eat at your net profit. But for this project, we decided to also tap into a hard money loan. Now, while if we went into this full time and just worked on this house full time, day in and day out, we probably would have been done in about 3 to 4 weeks. But all of us that were in this project were just working on this as we had time. So we kept our full-time jobs. So we wanted to keep our security net, and we gave time on the weekends and evenings and free days to work on this house. So after 2 months of hard work, the house was finally done. It was time to put it on market. But just like we're experiencing a slowdown right now, last year in the summertime, we also experienced a slowdown. And that's unfortunately when our house went on market. So it took another 30 days to sell. Now, we initially listed it at $425, thinking that we could drive the market up. But after 2 weeks of very little activity, we began to worry. Now, when I started to add up all the numbers and fees and what we paid and what we would get back, $425 did not work. So we decided to increase the price. And as an agent, this is something you usually don't do, but we increased the price to $450. After about 5 days or 7 days, another week on the market, we had a really great offer. The offer was for $450 and they wanted us to cover closing costs. So that would have taken us down to a $440 offer. But the negotiator side of me thought we can get a better deal. So I told them we would cover their closing costs as long as they submit a stronger offer. So instead, we got a $460 offer and still paid closing costs. So at this point, the numbers made sense. However, you might think you bought for $350, you sold for $450, you must have made a chunk of change.
See, I'm buying this hotel and setting some new rules about the pool area.
But the reality is, with loan fees, closing costs, remodel fees, utilities, and all sorts of other fun things that are in a transaction, The bottom number isn't as exciting as it may seem, especially after you cut profits to everybody involved in the project. However, everybody in this project made money. Now for us, we decided to take on this project because we wanted to gain experience, we wanted to get our feet wet, and we wanted to be ready for the next one. Now, if it wouldn't have sold, we would have had to been forced to either A, take a loss, or B, rent it out. Now, do I regret not renting it out? Yes and no. If we would have rented it out, we would have cash flowed around $500 a month right now. And for those reasons, I do regret it because that would have been a great first home to put into our rental portfolio. Now, why did we sell instead of rent it out? Remember earlier, I said everyone's situation is different? And it really is. Why didn't we rent it out? Well, because we kind of needed the money back. Now, we had pretty much all of our savings in this house, not to mention the money of the other investors, as well as a hard money loan. And while we could have waited a few months to then take out a loan and then rent it out and let it cash flow, that system didn't really work for us this time around because we had some other goals in mind. Now, you can't put a price on other things you want to do in life. Opportunities come and go. So just because we didn't rent this house out, it wasn't the end of the world. We did have some other plans in mind. We wanted to do a road trip across America, and that was very important for us. Now, we couldn't have done that with our little Toyota Tacoma. So in order for us to pursue that goal, we kind of had to have some of that cash back from this house. Now, you might say the rental portfolio is more important than traveling. Now, with the traveling, it wasn't just for fun. We were also scouting out some other areas in other states that we may actually pursue in the future. So instead of keeping this house as a rental, we decided to take our profit off the table, put our money from the savings that we had in this house after it's sold into a different kind of investment. And the kind of investment we put into is time. With the opportunity to travel across the states and look into other real estate options and really get to know if we wanted to keep Washington as our long-term goal or move out of the area, we really had to get this road trip done. There was no other way to get an answer to that. So what I'm really saying, guys, is everyone's situation is different. You can't say if you did the right thing or the wrong thing, because while I didn't take on the rental opportunity, I took on another opportunity. And as long as you are investing something into something you love or something you want to do, I think it's worth doing. So while we didn't add this house into our rental portfolio, what we did get is some clarity in our other aspirations and desires. There will be more opportunities. There will be more houses. There will be more rentals. I think you should take every opportunity you have, weigh out the options, and just go with it. And if it's not now, maybe it's next year. Start saving today. Save some money, put some money aside, and put it into a rainy day fund. Am I looking to start a rental portfolio? Absolutely yes. And when I do, you know I'll be making a video on it. So stay tuned. This might be a next year thing, a 2 year from now, 3 year from now, or maybe next month. When the opportunity is right and the numbers make sense, we will definitely pursue that. Now, if you've been thinking about investing or buying your first property or selling and putting some of those assets into an opportunity, let me know. I'd love to help. I'd love to show you around. I'd love to tell you what's going on in the market today, because the market does change daily. As of this video, we are at 5.66% for your interest rate, and another interest rate hike is coming. We don't know what that's going to do to the economy per se, but I'll keep you posted here on these videos. So make sure you subscribe, click that like button, and share this with a friend.